Justice Muhammad Umar of the Federal High Court sitting in Abuja has threatened to foreclose the defense of Omoyele Sowore if he fails to continue his defense. Hi, welcome to What's Happening. These are our top 10 stories countdown today. At number 10, the United Nations warned Thursday that more than 500 people were feared dead following reports of 2 large shipwrecks off Myanmar since late June. The UN's International Organization for Migration and its refuge agency UNHCR voiced alarm in a joint statement at reports that 2 boats carrying more than 500 people may have capsized off the coast of Myanmar in recent days. Preliminary information indicated that the 2 vessels in question departed from war-torn Myanmar Rakhine state in late June, with mainly members of the country's mostly Muslim Rohingya minority on board, the statement said. At number 9, Niger State Governor Umaru Bago has approved the appointment of a new management committee for Niger Tornadoes Football Club following the dissolution of the previous committee. The approval was announced in a statement issued by the Permanent Secretary, Niger State Ministry of Sport, Youth and Social Development, Nuhu Ngaski. According to the statement, the appointment is aimed at strengthening the administration and management of the club as preparations intensify for the forthcoming football season. At number 8, the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission has released activists Randy Peter and Mama P after both honored an invitation by the Anti-Graft Agency in Abuja. The activists were released shortly after midnight on Wednesday following several hours of questioning and were asked to return to the Commission's office on Thursday. According to their colleague, Justice Crack, who accompanied the duo to the EFCC headquarters, disclosed the development in. The EFCC has yet to publicly disclose the reason for inviting the activists. At number 7, the Federation Account Allocation Committee has shared 2.55 trillion naira as revenue generated in June 2026 among the federal government, state, and the 774 local government councils. The latest allocation is 250 billion naira, higher than the amounts shared for the previous month. It represents an increase of 10.9%. The improvement was driven by stronger collections from companies, income tax, capital gains tax, stamp duty, petroleum royalties, gas flaring, rental income, minimum operating revenue, value-added tax, import duties, and common external tariff levies. It is the highest amount ever shared from the Consolidated Revenue Fund. At number 6, the Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board has warned candidates seeking admission into tertiary institutions to avoid offers processed outside its central admissions processing system, stating that such admissions are illegal and will not be recognized. The board said only candidates whose admissions are processed through CAPS and backed by an official JAMB admission letter would be regarded as legitimate students, cautioning that those who secure admission through unofficial channel risk future complications. JAMB Registrar Professor Ishak Oloyede issued the warning through the board's public communication advisor, Dr. Fabian Benjamin, during a question and answer session at the 2026 Annual Education Summit organized by the Education Correspondent Association of Nigeria in Abuja. At number 5, the Federal Airport Authority of Nigeria has announced plans to introduce VPass, a biometric identity verification system aimed at making domestic air travel faster, safer, and more efficient. FAAN's Director of Public Affairs and Consumer Protection, Henry Agbebire, said the authority had partnered with Vexit Technologies Limited to deploy the system, which will enable passengers to verify their identities through facial recognition, reducing reliance on physical identity documents at airports. He said the rollout plan was reviewed during a strategic meeting between FAAN and Vexit, where both parties discussed deployment, security measures, and strategies to enhance passenger experience. At number 4, the Anambra State Police Command has arraigned 3 suspects before the Gender Magistrate Court sitting in Oka for separate charges bordering on alleged incest, defilement, and rape following the conclusion of investigations. Among the suspects arraigned was one Ikenna Mojeku, who is facing charges of alleged incest for reportedly engaging in a lawful sexual act with his 14-year-old daughter in Agulu Ziogbo, Anakwa local government area. This was disclosed in a press statement released on Thursday by the spokesman for the Anambra State Police Command, SP Tochukwu Ikenga. Ikenga said the suspects were arraigned on Wednesday following the conclusion of police investigations. At number 3, the governor of Adamawa State, Umaru Fintiri, has sworn in the newly elected chairmen of the 21 local government areas, charging them to provide effective leadership and accelerate grassroots development across the state. Fintiri made the comment during the swearing-in ceremony at the banquet hall of the government house, Yola. The event attracted top government officials, lawmakers, party leaders, traditional rulers, and supporters from across the state amidst a mammoth crowd. The oath of office and allegiance was administered by the Chief Judge of Adamawa State, Justice Hafsat Abdulrahman. Congratulating the new chairman, Governor Fintiri commended the Adamawa State Independent Electoral Commission for conducting what he described as a credible and peaceful election. At number 2, Katsina State Governor Diko Radda has approved the payment of over 500 million naira as compensation to residents whose lands, properties, farmland, and economic trees were affected by the Modoji Bakuru Federal Housing Project in Katsina. The approval was granted during the 11th regular meeting of the Katsina State Executive Council for 2026, held on Wednesday at the upper chamber of the General Muhammadu Buhari House, Government House, Katsina. Addressing journalists after the meeting, the Commissioner for Land and Physical Planning, Faisal Kaita, said the compensation covers both developed and underdeveloped structures, farmlands, and economic trees acquired for the housing project. He explained that the decision reflects the Radda administration's commitment to fairness, due process, and responsible implementation of development projects. At number 1, Justice Mohammed Umar of the Federal High Court sitting in Abuja has threatened to foreclose the defense of Omoyele Sowore if he fails to continue his defense. The judge made the order due to the absence of Mr. Showore's lawyer in court to bring more witnesses to testify on his behalf. At the resumed sitting, Sowore was present in court, but none of his counsel were in court. In this interest of justice, the court said it would, for the last time, agree to an adjournment for the defendant to continue his defense or risk his defense being foreclosed. That's all for today. See you next time on What's Happening.